It is believed that the Anglo-Saxon era in Britain lasted around 6 centuries, from 410 to 1066 AD. The period was previously known as the Dark Ages, mostly due to the scarcity of written evidence during the early years of the Saxon invasion. However, the labels Early Middle Ages and Early Medieval period are currently preferred by the majority of historians. Welcome to the Vikings Code, and today we will be looking at a brief history of Anglo-Saxons and the Danelaw. So please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let's continue. Many Germanic soldiers served in the late Roman army, and by the 4th century, they and their families had established themselves in Britain. So it should come as no surprise that after the departure of the legions at the beginning of the 5th century, local cities turned to Germanic mercenaries to protect their security. Vortigern, the post-Roman Kentish monarch, is often singled out for criticism, yet he was undoubtedly just one among several leaders who followed this course. Germanic colonization surged in the 5th and 6th centuries, even though the balance of power between Britons and Saxons varied over this time period. After a while, even in places where Germanic population was rare, such as Northumbria, the English language became the dominant one, with Celtic languages and customs being relegated to Wales, Cornwall, and northern Scotland. By the end of the 6th century, Christianity had become a significant new factor in the lives of the Germanic invaders. Although the Romano-British Church persisted and Anglo-Saxons would have had contact with local Christians, the church first existed only on the outskirts of English settlements due to the presence of paganism on the continent. Kent was the destination of a Christian mission dispatched by Pope Gregory the Great and directed by Augustine, which arrived there in 597. Its early popularity was incredible. After Ethelbert of Kent was the King of Essex and East Anglia were converted, Ethelbert's son-in-law, King Edwin of Northumbria, 617 to 633, was baptized by his bride's Roman chaplain, Paulinus, firmly establishing Christianity in the upper echelons of English culture. So it was a time of conflict, the division of Roman Britannia into numerous distinct kingdoms, religious conversion, and from the 790s, a period of continuous wars against a new group of invaders, the Vikings, made this a turbulent period in history. As a result of climate change, the Anglo-Saxon conquerors to Britain were able to expand their territory. In the years following 400 AD, Europe's average temperature was 1 degree Celsius higher than it is now, and grapes could be cultivated as far north as Tyneside in Britain. In northern Europe, warmer summers resulted in stronger harvests and a population increase. The melting of the polar ice cap at the same time increased floods in low-lying regions, notably in what is now Denmark, Holland, and Belgium. These people soon started seeking for land to dwell in that was less susceptible to flood. After the withdrawal of the Roman soldiers, Britain seemed to be both a vulnerable and an appealing prospect. It was in the late 8th century, precisely in the year 793, when a group of Norwegian Vikings raided the Catholic monastery of Lindisfarne, which was situated less than 1 mile off the northeastern coast of the Kingdom of Northumbria. This marked the beginning of the Viking Age officially. However, recent research suggested that it actually started in Ribe, Denmark, approximately 70 years earlier. Since then, both the Norwegian and the Danish Vikings ravaged Britain on a regular basis for the next 3 centuries. In Ireland and Scotland, the Norse plundered areas such as the Orkneys, Shetlands, and the Hebrides and the Isle of Man, while the Danes plundered the Anglian Kingdom of Wessex and the Kingdom of Mercia. And here comes the Danelaw. It was established as a consequence of King Alfred the Great's attempt to prevent repeated Viking invasions on the Anglian Kingdom of Wessex, which led to the establishment of the Danelaw. He subsequently continued by giving areas to the Danes who used the region largely for commerce, and to establish towns in the area. It is also known that the Danelaw was made up of 15 shires, which is a significant number. The Danelaw's territory extent included the modern-day shires of York, Leicester, Nottingham, Derby, Lincoln, Essex, Cambridge, Suffolk, Norfolk, Northampton, Huntingdon, Bedford, Hertford, Middlesex, and Buckingham. According to the Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, which is a collection of annals recounting the history of the Anglo-Saxons that was written during the late part of the 9th century, the Danelaw is known as Danelagen in Danish and Danelagu in Old English. Aside from its geographical connotation, the word Danelaw may also refer to a collection of terms and regulations that were established in a series of treaties between the King of the West Saxons during the 9th century, particularly Alfred the Great and the Danish warlord Guthrum. A decade had passed since the Battle of Edington, one of the most famous battles of the Viking era, which took place in 878, when Danish Vikings under Guthrum were granted territory by Alfred the Great and the Danelaw's borders were established. Danish Vikings were also granted the Danegeld, literally the Danish tax, throughout the 9th and 11th century as a reward for refraining from waging war against either England or France. The name Danegeld, on the other hand, only occurs in literary works in the 20th century, whilst records from the High Middle Ages refer to the tax paid to the Danish Vikings as either geld or gaffel. Furthermore, it was the Danish and Norwegian Vikings that gave their names to an important area in northern France, which is known as Normandy, derived from the Old French term Normans, which refers to Northmen. So this ends today's video. We hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have any thoughts or questions, please let us know in the comments section. Stay tuned with us, and we will see you in the next one.